Thank you very much for watching Master Jason Feng Shui channel. Yesterday, I have talked about some aspects related to the election that is going to happen in Singapore, the BaZi analysis of Dr. Chi Sun Jen and Lee Seng. So today, I will focus on this Jurong West GRC. That is a battle between Leong Mun Wai's team and Desmond Lee's team. If you are familiar with Singapore politics, Leong Mun Wai is from the PSP, Progress Singapore Party, and Desmond Lee is from the People's Action Party. So before I proceed, just want to say something that is very important. What I'm doing right now is just for the teaching of BaZi reading, yeah. And due to the fact that most of the time I don't have this candidate's time of birth, so I will backtrack their history to try to gauge the strengths of their day master, which is a crucial step for the analysis of past reading. But it is not likely that the time of birth that I assume is the correct one. So another thing is that what I try to say here, right? It's not like I'm pro PAP, pro PSP, or pro SPP, or pro Workers' Party. I am for no political parties. I am neutral and impartial. My analysis is fair and basically it's just basing on my knowledge of past reading, which most of you are interested in learning. So don't take whatever I say, right, to have like any serious kind of political implication. Okay, a lot of you, right? 90% of you have given me a lot. I received a lot of comments, to be honest. Yesterday night until today, the video that I made yesterday have already reached about 2,300 views. Thank you very much for the kind support. But to be honest, a lot of you are very angry also. You all scolded me for being the PAP mouthpiece, or scolded me for kind of like try to say that Dr. Chi is not going to succeed in this election. By all means, scold me. I actually enjoy your scolding. I love your scolding very much because it shows that Singaporeans do love Singapore and care so much about Singapore that they want a better future. That's why they have all kinds of emotional reaction to the things that I say. So please scold me by all means, but just keep it in a kind of like scold me is okay, scolding me is something that I love. It shows that you are really absorbing whatever I say and digesting also. But ultimately, I just want to say that whatever I say is really fair and it's not like I'm trying to encourage you to vote for whoever. It's just that I'm teaching party reading right here, okay? And other thing, I also receive other comments I receive is like, your accent doesn't seem like you were born in Singapore, and that you should not be speaking about Singapore's politics. The truth is that I am a Singaporean. Yeah, this is my red eyes, my pink eyes. I am a Singaporean. Even though I was born in Hong Kong, that's the fact. I was born in Hong Kong, but I was raised here. I was educated here since I was 13 years old. And I have served the Singapore Air Force. And I have been a taxpayer in Singapore also. So I believe I have all the rights to to kind of like look into Singapore future because that is my home, right? I'm rightfully given a citizenship, right? Rightfully given a citizenship. I have served in the Air Force. I was educated here. I was also all right. To be honest, I also have volunteered myself in the various kind of social work, serving as both as a volunteer and as a counselor in Singapore various welfare organization because I graduated with a bachelor in psychology and also a master degree in counseling. So I have contributed to the progress or the Singapore society as a whole. I have done my part. So I believe I deserve to be concerned over Singapore's future to talk about something that is related to politics. I think fair enough, I have spent large part of my life here. I'm still paying tax, okay? I'm still paying tax. Yeah. And the amount of tax I pay, okay, I will not comment on how much I'm paying, but I'm a taxpayer, right? I and my immediate families, although not all of them are in Singapore, but I have like can I say 80% of my family members in Singapore. Yeah. So I believe I deserve the right even to be concerned about Singapore future, even though I was not born in Singapore. because it is also my home. Yeah. Okay. So but scold me by all means. I love your scolding because it shows that you also care about Singapore and want a better future for Singapore. Yeah, but scold me relevantly. Don't scold me because I'm not born in Singapore. A lot of Singaporeans, they are not born in Singapore. Some of the politicians that are serving in the government, they were also not born in Singapore, but they have been contributing to the success of Singapore. They are taxpayer also. Yeah. So that is not a very good point to say, you should not care about or should not comment about Singapore politics just because you were not born in Singapore. I don't think that is a very fair comment to make. But still, Singapore is my home. I see, my all my friends, all my clients, they are like they are also, a lot of them are not born in Singapore also. A lot of my viewers also not born in Singapore. And, we all care about Singapore's future because Singapore is a precious jewel. It didn't come easily. And given the very volatile and chaotic political situation or international kind of chaos that we are seeing right now, it is something that is of great concern to many people. And of course, the future of Singapore is decided by who we vote into the government, right? Whoever is representing us. So I do hope that I still hope that ultimately whoever loves Singapore will care about Singapore enough to be angry, to show your emotions, showing that you are not totally apathetic. In the past, growing up in Singapore, I observed one thing is that in the past, Singaporeans are actually not that concerned about politics. But in this last 10 or 20 years, okay, I'm just 40 plus, yeah. So even though I'm just 40 plus, okay, I will just reflect in some of my younger days, when I was about 13 years old or 20 plus years old, Singaporeans were not so much concerned about politics. But not so in the past 10 years. I would say maybe because we see that a lot of big events are affecting Singapore internationally speaking. Like we had COVID-19 that led to the closure of many shops, and many people have to stop work and etc. And then now comes the tariff war. So many people do feel the impact from all these global events because we are now living in a global village. Whatever happens in our countries will affect us internally, and all these very drastic changes is great. Like it's like causing a lot of concerns in the hearts of Singaporeans. They want a government that is able to provide them with a good standard of living, reasonably good standard of living, that they really will be able to not just survive, so as to SDP proposed, to drive, but not just to survive, something like that. I'm totally okay for it. I'm totally pro, this kind of philosophy or idea proposed by SDP. And, living standard is definitely getting more and more expensive. That is the fact. Everyone can feel that. So to cut it short, right, I will not, be too long-winded. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say is that everyone is worried about Singapore's future. That's why I also like to take this opportunity to leverage on this concern, most Singaporeans have, to teach you BaZi reading, because that's my passion. Politics is not my passion, right, to be honest. So if you are someone who is angry, who just like to watch any kind of YouTube, just, cherry pick different parts, selectively choose different parts to scold me about it, I'm totally okay, I love it, just it shows that Singaporeans love Singapore and want to voice out. But scolding me on YouTube will not change the future of Singapore. It's when you make a vote that counts that will change the future of Singapore. Yeah, so let me repeat myself again. Scolding me on YouTube will not change the future of Singapore. It's when you vote wisely, when you make a vote that really matters, really counts, that will change the future of Singapore. Okay, so let's begin today's session. Yeah, sometimes I like to digress a little bit, so don't mind me. Yeah, because I believe that we live in we live in an age whereby everyone should be given a voice to speak responsibly, of course. It's like you don't anyhow say something that is irresponsible and that is not logical, or is you just speak nonsense. Then of course that you deserve to be scolded. Yeah, but we live we I mean, I consider Singapore to be having a mature democracy already, and everyone should be given a chance, because as long as you are citizens of Singapore, you should be given a choice, a free choice to choose, or even to voice out your opinions in a responsible and in a logical, reasonable manner. Yeah, and of course, I'm just blending these two things that I'm concerned about together, using BaZi, which is a form of ancient wisdom, to just as kind of free share and chit chat session with my viewers. That's all, right? That's my only intention. I have no intention to swing your opinion. I'm just telling you whatever BaZi is telling us. That's all. If you don't like it, you can dislike me by all means. I don't. I'm totally okay to be disliked. To be honest, yeah. You can hate me for all you want. You can dislike me, or just don't watch my channel. Yeah, because I'm just doing it for education. That's all. Just trying to share my passion. Yeah. So I have made myself clear. So I will proceed with today's Cheng. Yeah. So let's first of all look at Leong Mun Wai. Okay, Leong Mun Wai. We can see that he's of a weekday master, because Bing Fire is sitting on a lot of water element. And previously I've mentioned that Singapore is of a Yiwu day master that is weak. And for Yiwu is very much like a small flower. It will always need the sunlight and the rain. So Leong Mun Wai's chart definitely have a lot of rainwater. Zi is a kind of yin water. Sorry, it's a kind of yang water. Hai is a yin water. But within Zi water, there's actually Kuai water, which is the yin water. So it is a kind of metaphor for rainfall for Singapore, and also there are two big fire which are sunlight. So Leong Mun Wai's chart basically is a chart that is from a BaZi perspective is positive for Singapore's development. In fact, I believe some of the proposal that he has made, for example, HDB proposal that he has made in the parliament, was actually quite worth considering. Okay, perhaps I will just use ChatGPT as a reference. Some of the his views regarding HDB. Like how it is supposed to be priced, or maybe you guys just chat on that. But I don't want to digress too much. Yeah, but he did propose that affordable home scheme aimed at reducing the cost of loose HDB flats by excluding land costs from their initial pricing. Under this scheme, buyers would pay only for construction costs and nominal location premium when purchasing a flat. The land cost would be deferred and payable only if the flat is sold on the resale market after the minimum occupation period. Leong urges, perhaps we will just read together, yeah? So I will kind of flip the screen, just bear with me. All right, let's look at it together, because this is all written online. It's not like I kind of like come up with it myself. So let's take a look at this article together. Yeah. So Leong argues that this approach will make housing more affordable for Singaporeans who intend to live in their flats long term, as they wouldn't bear the burden of land costs upfront. He contends that much of the land used for public housing was acquired by the government at low costs in the past, and thus current buyers shouldn't have to pay today's market rate for it. Of course, the proposal did face certain significant criticism from the government officials. National Development Minister Desmond Lee, whom I'm going to comment also on his BaZi chat later on, Desmond Lee labeled the scheme as not logical and warns that it could deplete Singapore's national reserves by undervaluing state land. Second Minister for National Development Indra Lee Raja described the plan as a prepaid rental scheme that effectively sells state land cheaply, therefore eroding the nation's financial resources. Yep. But of course, I think this is idea. This is an idea that can be further refined to lower the cost of purchasing a house for Singaporeans. Because to be honest, I have a lot of clients who are somewhere my age, 30, 40s, just starting a new family and then looking to buy a new flat, they do face a lot of financial burdens, given that everything now is more expensive, and the debts the loans that they have to take on, to subsequently finance them, are getting much higher than what the forefathers of Singapore used to pay. I mean, the so-called the previous generation whom were able to purchase the flat at much lower price. But what I'm encouraging here is that the brainstorming of ideas and the kind of constructive exchange in Parliament is what will bring about better decision and better ideas. And it is by having this kind of drastic brainstorming or clashes of ideas that better policy can be created to benefit Singaporeans. So I'm all for this kind of very constructive discussion within the Parliament. But of course, right, we still have to look at Leong Mun Wai's BaZi chat. Leong Mun Wai's BaZi chat is in such a way that, right, his water element is too strong. So what are his positive element? His positive element is what in BaZi called the 食神三光. Yeah, right. So I will just quickly write down his birth chart and dissect it for you. 子亥丙子丙子 okay. All right. Kind of like my memory is not so good. 子亥丙子丙子 okay. All right, this is Leong Mun Wai. 子亥丙子丙子. All right, so we can see his day master is of being fire. That is weak because there is too much water element within his birth chart. Additionally, high Zhichou will form a water combination formation. That is his what we call the 贞观之杀. Of course, when we translate into English, it means authority. But in order for him to be able to exercise this authority within his original birth chart, that's mean something that he's born with, he would need to strengthen his day master first. So his positive element definitely will be fire, will be wood, and also earth. Okay, let me explain to you why. In order for being fire day master that is weak, all right, this is a weak day master chart. In order for this being fire to be strong, you will need companion factors. Means when you see there's a fire, you put more fire together, then the fire will become stronger. Simple as that. So additionally, we also needed wood to fuel the fire. You throw a lot of dry wood inside the fire, you become larger. And one very obvious thing that we can observe from his body chart is that he has this water combination formation at his earth branches. 我们叫做水局啊，这个叫做水局. This is a water combination formation. Yeah, I will just write it as water combo. Okay, and then what is the element that will control or suppress the level of water within his chart? Exactly, is the earth element. So just quickly say hi to Yvonne. Thank you very much for watching. The earth element will be able to decrease or kind of suppress his water element. So earth is another factor that will benefit him definitely. And when we look at his current decade is exactly entering into a Zi earth, right? I will just kind of hide the comment so that you guys can see clearly. Where my house is hovering over, that is his decade trend from which started from 2024 and will last all the way to 2033. But we can see that this 2024 to 2033 is of a fire enhancing earth kind of decade trend, which means he will see positive development in terms of his career, especially political career, because whenever we talk about politics, it is always about authority, right? 我们其实在传统的华人文化里面嘛，官嘛，做官常常都是一个我们叫做权嘛，跟权力就有关了，对不对？那我们呢看到他的一个命格作为一个我们叫做食神自杀。食神自杀我写出来先，然后我再解释给你们听。We can observe that there's a very special formation in his chart called 食神自杀格。 What it means is that he is able to use his talents to achieve great authority. Okay, so let me explain why. All right, he is of a 子亥, 丙子, and 丙子. As mentioned, all these are his authority factor. And in order to have this authority factor in control of this authority or influence, what we like to call, or another word for it is called influence. Or influence, yeah. Because to be honest, it's very hard to translate the BaZi terms into English, but I will try my best. Some people like to call it influence, some people like to call it authority. I will use both, yeah, just for your, to facilitate easy understanding for my viewers. So what is the one thing that is shown is that he has this 子二 within his year, heavily stand. And this 子二 basically is the factor that will help him to control, put this authority under control, and that is his 这个是他的那个 OK 想一下母，这个是他的三官。This is his herding officer, yeah. This is his herding officer, as also shown you within the chart. We can see that, right? When you see the 子二 it says 相 means 相关。所以嘛，他现在要在政治上面有一个好的发展的话嘛，他真的一定要 challenge 那种existing policy。相关的意思是代表什么相关 herding officer。I know the translated term is very weird, because there are no better ways to describe it, but it's called herding officer in English, right? 相关 means herding officer in English. And people who have herding officer within their BaZi chart, they are usually very provocative, but at the same time, very expressive. They can be very eloquent, but the things that they say can be very challenging to the authority. And that is exactly the personality of 三官. And we can observe within the parliament sitting, most of the time, he's the one who is doing all the questioning. And to be honest, within a democratic society, to have a parliament that have members questioning the policy making process, it is a positive thing. Don't you think so? But one thing about Singapore culture is that even, I was once a teacher also, yeah. And I realized that, okay, actually I'm also teaching right now because within my shop, I do teach BaZi and Zhiwei Dousu. One of the most observed characteristics of Singaporeans is that they don't dare to question. They always just accept whatever is being pushed into their ears without asking why. The ability to question what is thrown at you is very important because whatever that is shared or whatever you absorb may not be 100% correct. But I don't know, is it due to the educational system of Singapore or whatever reason? Yeah, Singaporeans, especially Singapore students, they just don't have the habit of raising their hands and ask questions. And I believe it is very important as a habit, that should be cultivated in the population. Of course, you don't anyhow questions, like some of the, people who comment on the YouTube, they say very funny things. Sometimes I don't know whether I should keep them or remove them because it's so funny that I just want to keep some of the comments, there to make you all laugh. But questions in a way that is constructive, yeah. And there's a difference between complaining and questioning. Complaining is when you observe something is wrong, you just criticize the problems. Questioning constructively is when you see that there's an issue, you find out the roots of the problems and ask why this is happening. And is there a way, is there an alternative solution to tackle the problem? That is constructive questioning. It's not complaining, all right? So you guys have to know the difference. Complaining is one thing. Complaining that it is expensive is one thing. But are you able to propose a viable alternative solution that will solve the problem? That is what makes a difference. commenting on my YouTube and scolding me also will not make a difference, you know. So ultimately, you have to find, you have to question and also allow people who can question the you know, BAP from PAP or BA from PSP or SDP or Workers' Party, whoever who can question constructively to enter into the parliament, right? Because it's when you are able to create an alternative solution that you will be able to create a better Singapore. All the while Singapore lack this kind of very you know, to kind of like, I know Singapore is very fragile, it's very small, you know, it may not be too receptive to very unconventional ideas. But the world is as such that whereby if you are no longer creative towards problem solving, no longer thinking out of the box, you will be left behind, especially in this 离卦九运. 离卦九运的离卦 means fire, and fire represents creativity, represents doing things in an a kind of like sometimes illogical manner, but in a way that will work. Because fire doesn't follow a straight line of you know, it doesn't follow a straight line. Fire is always branching out into all directions, and that is about the creativity. That's why in the future of Singapore, improving the education in a way that allow creativity to flourish is also extremely important. Is not something that only I propose or only I am observing. Look at Singapore. A lot of brands, they are not able to make it into like to reach the international level of success. It's really because there's a lack of creativity. All right. Some of the, perhaps just to be more positive, you know, I love Sim Wong Hu. Sim Wong Hu, the guy who created creative technology. I'm a fan. You know, I love his things, his products, his sound card. Actually, all the computers I install his sound cards, and actually, I also have his speakers. You know, as my serving as my and like computer speakers and etc. I love his work. I love his earphones and headphones, and it's really when you are, you know, as creative as enterprise like creative technology, yeah, then you'll be able to create a name that will represent Singapore. Yeah, that's what I think is good for Singapore. So we as Singaporeans, we should also question constructively and think out of the box. Think of creative solution through design, you know, no longer just basing on the books, you know. There are things that sometimes you just have to like Edward de Bono, you know, the one who actually always suggested that we must have lateral thinking. You know, we must actually break out of the logical chain that sometimes actually put us into a disadvantage. Sometimes we really have to exercise lateral thinking to help us to improve as both as a human being and as a society, you know, together. Yeah. So we don't digress too much, but third officer is also related to creativity. So having these kind of members in the government would be important for the future. I'm not asking you to vote for Leong Mun Wai, all right, to repeat myself. I'm just saying that people who have this hurting officer are people who will be able to challenge the existing status quo, and give you another new perspective that may help Singapore to become a better place, right? And 食神自杀 is always a good formation for politician. And he is currently going through a decade trend that has 食神自杀 because 子 and 是, right? 是 is fire. 子 is an earth. His original chart has a lot of water, right? His original chart has a lot of water. So it means that he can turn this 正官气杀, or what we call authority or influence, to his advantage. And given that he has a chart that is very positive for Singapore, as I mentioned, he has both of the sunlight and the rainwater, which is essential for the birth chart or the founding chart of Singapore. So I will think having Leong Mun Wai Okay, I will not put it that way. I will just say that as shown by I will just mention that or suggest that given that he has such kind of birth chart, I do see a positive development for him in terms of politics. It is a chart that will make a good uh, government officer or a parliament member. Okay, okay, but I'm not asking you to vote for him. Yeah, you know whatever I say when you cast the vote. Okay, so just to be very fair and impartial, I'm not suggesting you guys to vote for anyone. Yeah, because some people say that I'm the PAP mouthpiece. I'm not a PAP mouthpiece. Yeah, I'm no party's mouthpiece. I'm just teaching you BaZi here. All right, you guys have to remember this very important point. But I welcome your scolding. I love your scolding because it really shows that actually there's really something that I want to see in Singaporeans, that you care so much about Singapore that you have some form of emotional reaction. Because it is important for you to be angry. I mean, not only angry, also important for you to be happy, to show joy. I mean, you should not just live like a zombie. That's what I'm trying to say. You are the owner of Singapore. When you cast a vote, you are taking ownership of your future. So you should not just always remain as an apathetic kind of attitude towards politics, right? Politics is an important area of life that will influence you greatly. Although you don't have the habit of questioning or challenging the status quo, right? The most terrible thing that I observe is that people always complain, but at the end of the day, they still vote for the status quo. So why complain? They might as well just accept it and shut up, right? If you are really so dissatisfied, then ask for changes by the vote that you are given. If not, then just shut up and take it as it is. Yeah, there's nothing else that you can do. If you don't given the opportunity that you can ask for change, you don't ask for it, then just take the same kind of the occurrences that has been lasting for the past so many years. But don't complain. At the end of the day, don't complain. You just have to accept it because you have given your vote to whoever is governing. Of course, I have to once again tell you that I'm not asking you to vote for PAP or PSP or Workers' Party or SDP. Vote for the one who represents your voice. That is the most important thing, okay? Whatever I'm trying to share today is really just for you to think twice, yeah, using ancient wisdom, yeah, to think twice about the potential future that will unfold, yeah. All right, of course, right, there are many other members within PSP also, right? We also, in this coming election, the Dr. Tan Chung Pok, right? Uh, this who is that? Okay, sorry about that. I kind of like sometimes need to revert to the internet for their names because, to be honest, I'm not that old, and also I'm not someone who is I'm not an enthusiast, towards Singapore politics. But given that it's now election, I have to read up a little bit. Okay, Tan Chung Pok, Chen Qingmu, is a factor. Okay, perhaps we'll just look at GPT together so that you can have the words to read. All right, Tan Chung Bock, he is one of ex PAP member actually, but eventually he found the PSP, right, progressive. Sorry, I always make a mistake of calling them progressive. Okay, they are actually called Progressive Singapore Party. Dr. Tan Chung Pok is a prominent Singaporean politician and physician, currently serving as the chairman of the Progressive Singapore Party, which he founded in 2019. He previously served as a member of parliament for Ayer Rajah SMC under the People's Action Party from 1980 to 2006. So you can see that he was actually an ex-PAP member. In 2011 presidential election, he narrowly lost to Tony Tan, securing 34.85% of the vote. In the upcoming 2025 general election, Dr. Tan is leading the PSP team, contesting West Coast Jurong West GRC alongside party Secretary General Leong Mun Wai, Vice Chairperson Hazel Poa. Hazel Poa, is it? I sometimes I pronounce this surname wrongly. And newcomers Sunny Ismail and Samaleki M. Ja. I'm not sure if the pronunciation is correct. Pardon me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Dr. Tan has indicated that this may be his final election campaign, after which he intends to take on a mental role within the party. Yeah. So because right, Dr. Tan, he's very old already, and the software is not able to reflect the length of his life. But it's a good thing that he's living such a healthy, long life. And let's take a look at his chart together first, yeah, before we proceed further. Observe day master. And interestingly, there are two Cheng Earth at the Earth branches, and on top is gun metal. So we can see that his herding officer is likewise very strong, right? It's another chart that has very strong herding officer. And due to the fact that, right, the birth chart is only able to plot his chart until 2023, which is Zhi. After 2023, he's actually entered into Zhi. So I will kind of like write it out for you, because he's too blessed with such a long life, so the software is not able to reflect his current decade. So all right, quickly, 跟神之海， all right, 跟神之海。 Yeah, so we can see that this is Dr. Dang Cheng Bock. Birth chart, he's of a birthday master. I don't have his time of birth, to be honest. For this kind of chart, is rather difficult to tell whether it's a strong one or a weak one, because in terms of BaZi reading, this gun is also equivalent to sun, and sun and Cheng will form a water combination formation. Yeah. So like this kind of chart that is very hard to determine whether it's a strong one or weak one, is also usually considered a positive chart, because at the same time we can see that there's a lot of water element within his birth chart, which indicates wealth. And also Cheng is likewise a kind of companion factor that can be kind of like alternate between water element and earth element. So he has a very balanced chart, so to speak. And in terms of BaZi reading, we will always have to consider this mechanism called 调候。就是说呢，我们算八字的那个过程当中呢，常常都要调候的。调候呢，就是说很简单的一个道理啊，就是说如果你的八字呢太热的时候呢，你就需要冷一点啊；你的八字太冷的时候，你就需要热一点啊。So 调候 or the regulation of temperature is an important mechanism in BaZi analysis. So Yvonne is correct. There are two Kui Gan, but because Zhi is the day master, so it's not a day master that is having Kui Gan. But yes, Gen Chen and Gen Chen itself, they are in itself considered Kui Gan. So his herding officer is likewise very strong. So I mentioned earlier on, right, for someone who has a herding officer within their chart, they will not likely to be the kind of yes man. Yes man in the sense, right, whatever the boss says, they say, oh, okay, yeah, good. I agree. I will support you to the end. They are not that kind of person. People who have a strong herding officer within their birth chart, they will usually voice out what they believe is correct and challenge what they believe is wrong. So you can observe that Dr. Tang Cheng Bock, for most of his life after leaving PAP, he has been making a point that he is not giving up in following what he believes is right, what he believes is the correct way of governing Singapore. So there's something that I have to mention. Given that he has such kind of chart, he will have such kind of personality. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? There's no such thing as absolutely good or absolutely bad. But as I mentioned, in the future, What you really needed is a government that is able to have a very diverse view of things, not only having parliament members from the military, not only having parliament members that previously worked in the government. You really need to have a very wide view because, to be honest, Singapore is getting more and more diverse in their outlook. Given that in the current age, we have social media, we have internet access, we have ChatGPT, we are exposed to all kinds of very advanced ideas. And the new generation of voters, they will not be the kind of, who simply just take whatever answers you give them. They will question you why. A lot of YouTubers nowadays, they make a lot of political interviews, of the candidates. You can show that this is a trend that will not be stopped. It will only grow to become stronger and stronger. This trend of people discussing politics over YouTube, over TikTok, or whatever, over Facebook, this is a trend that will not be, it will not be reversed. It is only growing bigger and bigger. This trend will only become more and more common. Yeah. So the new generation of voters, will they want a government that is able to, think out of the box, consider ideas that are appropriate for this new generation of voters? I think so, yeah. And given that Dr. Tan Chong Po, he is having such kind of strong herding officer factor within his chart, I believe he's someone who is, first of all, not a yes man. Definitely will hold on tight to his belief and fight to the end, not giving up. And I believe history has shown that's really the case. That's the reason why he contested as the president in the past and also formed the PSP. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, you can, if he's to enter into the parliament as if we are to see him being voted in, will he be able to challenge the status quo of things? I think the probability is high. And it is something I believe is relevant to the current newer generation of voters. Yeah, definitely, because we definitely can observe that we live in a very different age. Like last time, right? But we go to the bank, we every time have to draw money, go to the ATM. Nowadays, everyone is different. We use cryptocurrency, etc. And it's just a matter of 10 to 15 years that the world is totally upside down now after entering into Li Gua Jiu Yun. So whatever has worked in the past may not work in the next 20 years. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the facts of life that we cannot escape from. Yeah. So also, given that he as I mentioned, right, he has a chart that is cold because there are too much metal element at the heavenly stems. Sun Chen also form a water combination formation, right? Because I mentioned that Gun is equivalent to Sun. And then his day master is sitting on this high, which is also another water factor. So in the year, perhaps I will hide this so that it's easier for me to write some more. Tiao Ho, right, he will lead the fire element. And the year 2025 is of Shi fire, right? 2026 is also of Wu fire. 2027 we have Ding fire at the heavenly stem. So will he be able to stand a chance? 好像在讲废话，其实每个人都 stand a chance。如果你是候选人，你都会 stand a chance 啦。可是能够说呢，这3年来说，对他来说，其实在政治上面的那种发展来说，其实会有一个好的转变。He will be able to receive support. Yeah, receive support due to the presence of this fire elemental energy within his birth chart. And the next 10 years after 2028, if you are to look back at his chart, right, we will read it together. After 2028, right now he's actually 2028, it is 子 The next few years is also of the earth element, which will suppress the water elemental energy. So I will say the chance of him, the probability of him being able to enter the parliament is considerably high. Is considerably high, but I have to reiterate that I don't have his time of birth. I don't have his time of birth, so I don't know. But if we are to look back at his past, some of his more successful years, so to speak, like quote successful years, actually throughout his life he has been quite successful. But we can see that as a member of parliament, he served in the past from 1980 onwards, all the way to 2006. Is it? Yeah. So that was somewhere between this Yi and Bing, heavenly stamp, and these are fire enhancing trend. Yiwu is particularly able to enhance Bing Fire. Bing Fire is definitely his variable factor. That's why he has also chosen Leong Mun Wai to be like his successor. Leong Mun Wai is our Bing Fire Day Master, right? As I mentioned. Yeah, so all these interesting facts that we can derive from BaZi reading. Okay, so the next person perhaps I will take a look at is Hazel. How do I pronounce her surname? Yeah, I'm sorry that I always pronounce people's surname wrongly. Is it Poe? Hazel Poe, is it? If I pronounce your name wrongly, please pardon me. Because I know that Singapore have very different, many different dialect groups. Yeah, Poa. Hazel Poa. Yeah, so I will just call you as Hazel Poa. Hazel, I will just call you Hazel, right? If you allow me. So Hazel is having a Hui Gan Ge, yeah, indeed a Hui Gan Ge, Gen Chen Hui Gan Ge, and then likely to be a strong day master. But in the next few years, as I mentioned, okay, perhaps we'll just look at his current decade trend first. He's actually, Hazel Poa is actually at this current Mao decade, Mao 5 year period. So this year actually lasted from 2022 from 2026. Was that also the period whereby she has entered into the parliament? Let me do a double check. I don't know why ChatGPT keep crashing. So let us take a look at some of Hazel Paul personal history as to like when he entered into politics and served as a member of the parliament. So as according to ChatGPT, Hazel Poa, all right, let's take a look at it together. Um, she actually joined Reform Party in the past, yeah. But I will make some video on Reform Party later on, yeah. But we can see that he was an NCMP representing Progress Singapore Party in the 14th Parliament Singapore. So that is from 2020 onwards, is that correct? Or 2021 onwards? And that is coherent with his chart development. We can see that her BaZi chart is in such a way that during this period of her entering into politics or being really serving as a member or the NCMP is really from like 2021 onwards. That's during the transition that she was having from this entering into this Mao Wood, which is very auspicious for her because she's a gunmetal master that is strong. So let me dissect the chart for you, for those who are not familiar with BaZi reading, right? Whatever I say may be like very confusing for you guys. So let me take a look. 根率甲辛根神根率甲率，is it 甲率or 甲辛根神？Yep. So this is Hazel Paul. And then her day master is of the gunmetal day master. Why is it a strong day master? Because first of all, this gunmetal is sitting on Cheng, which is an earth element. She itself is also another earth element. At the heavenly stamps, we have a companion factor that is gun. And then this earth branch of the Mun is also of a metal element. So we can see that clearly there are a lot of supporting factors for her day master, causing her to be a stronger metal. And for strong gunmetal day master, in terms of female, usually they have very strong personality, usually very capable. And if we are to look at her background, she is actually a business owner or something. And yeah, so the question is, right, currently, given that she is going through this Mao Wood, will it be a positive 5-year period for her? I will say definitely yes, because that is her. Mao is a young wood, right? It's a young wood. Sorry, this is a yin wood. Mao is a yin wood. Yeah. So this is her direct wealth. Of course, whenever we hear the word wealth is a positive thing for a strong day master. Yeah. So this kind of wood trend will be positive for Hazel Poa. Additionally, Mao is equivalent to Yi Wood, and that will form a lateral combination relationship with gunmetal. So does that translate to a situation whereby he may enter into the parliament again? I will say yes, the chance is high. I'm not trying to ask you to vote for them, okay, to be to be very clear. I'm just teaching you BaZi reading. So we can also observe that in 2025 it is Yi Shi, which is once again her direct wealth, right, with authority, right? This is Yi Wood pairing with a gunmetal. Shi is a yin fire. For yin fire, that is what the second half of the year will represent is her what? Is her direct officer, right? 我们叫做正官啊，财生官呢，这种格局都是做官的一种格局啊。所以今年大选来说，他有没有机会再进去议会呢？应该是有的，应该是有的。啊，所以这3个比较重要的人物已经说了啊，我就只能够是说他们其实是有机会进去。可是on the other hand, we will also observe the chart of Desmond Lee and team. For the last 2 members, the son, the Ismail and the other guy what's the name? Let me try to the 2 more members within PSP that is newly introduced. I don't have their date of birth. I cannot find their date of birth. Namely, the Sani, Ismail, and Sukma Leki Amja. I don't have their date of birth, so I cannot do a BaZi analysis of them. So yeah, so that's my take on PSP. They does stand a chance to be to remain in the parliament. They does stand a good chance to remain in the parliament. So the other person, the other side, of the those candidates belonging to the PAP is led by PAP. Representing PAP is of the Desmond Lee. So we will quickly look at Desmond Lee's BaZi chat. Right, Desmond Lee BaZi chat. I have already plugged it in previous live video. He is likely okay. Let me double check on this birth detail just to make sure that I'm correct. Because to be honest, sometimes I plug the chart spontaneously, and I may key the wrong information. So I will check on the internet first just to make sure that I'm correct. All right. ChatGPT is searching the web right now, kind of slow. So all right, perhaps I will just use. Okay. She was born in the year 1976. In the month of July, and on the 15th. So that is correct. So I will adjust the timing. I will not use the 子 hour because sometimes it may jump to another day. I will just choose hour of Shui, maybe. Yeah. So we can see that Desmond Lee, right, is having a Mu of day master. Yeah, sometimes sometimes because the time of birth is like I select it to the 子 hour. Sometimes the software will jump. So this is the correct version of Desmond Lee's BaZi chat of a Mu of day master that is strong. Mu of people, they are very reliable. But sometimes they cannot think out of the box, and sometimes they can go by the book too much. So we also observed that in the past, Desmond Lee has made several controversial statement, um, controversial statement regarding housing. Right. So perhaps we just look at some of the history. Of course, he has made a lot of great contributions to the government also, but we can't deny that as reported by the news, some of the some of the things that he has mentioned within the parliament did raise some eyebrows. For example, during the dispute with Leong Mun Wai, that Desmond Lee's how okay as reading directly from ChatGPT. All right, perhaps I will just enlarge the forms. Not sure if I can enlarge. Okay, you guys can read it right from my desktop. Right, I think it's big enough. Yeah. So first of all, the affordability of HDB flats in March 2025, Minister Lee rebutted claims by Progressive Singapore Party Leong Mun Wai that housing affordability has worsened for graduates over decades. Leong compares the ratio of starting salaries to HDB flat prices between 1979 to and now 2025, suggesting that today's graduates are financially worse off. Minister Lee countered that such comparisons were based on selective use of data, overlooking changes in education levels, housing quality, and market dynamics over the years. He emphasized that the government's approach combines social policy with market elements to ensure long-term sustainability of public housing. Despite these assurances, many netizens have expressed skepticism, pointing to rising resale prices and the increasing financial burden on young Singaporeans seeking ownership. Well, you guys, real Singaporeans, you know the resale prices now. You know how high is it right now? So I will not kind of like elaborate on that. Another controversial that kind of issue, gentrification and prime location of public housing. So in September 2022, Minister warned that if public housing were left entirely to market forces, Singapore could face gentrification, leading to central areas becoming exclusive. So there are various controversial issues. You guys can read it online. Another one is related to the public perception and online discourse. So the reason why in my previous live video, several viewers has asked about Desmond Lee and whether he will continue. Okay, sorry that my internet jumped a little bit, so I'm back. So what I'm trying to say here is, let's look at Desmond Lee's battle chat. Yeah, he's likely to be a strong day master of the Wu Earth. And usually, Wu people are very reliable. That's one thing that I always observe about Wu people. But sometimes they can be a little bit kind of like they are not creative or not flexible enough in their approach of solving problems. So that is one thing that I often observe about Wu people. But we can see that he has a lot of storages, right? Have this Cheng storage, have this Wei storage, all these what we call 窗户我们在八字里面叫做窗户 and all this will definitely make his day master to be even stronger. So currently, he is actually going into this 2025 gunmetal period. In this way, it's actually a positive trend for him. So 庚子 especially is a positive trend for Desmond Lee. So I will focus more on the BaZi reading part. So I will write down the chart and dissect it for you. 丙辰月尾戊辰。丙辰 sorry my memory is failing 丙辰月尾戊辰丙辰月尾戊辰 Yep, so as a strong day master of the Wu Earth, he is currently going through gunmetal. So will that actually bring about positive development in his political career? I will still say yes, but we have to caution. We have to be reminded that 2025 is still strong in the fire element because it is Yi Shi. 2026 likewise is of Bing Wu. 2027 is of Ding Wei. So particularly entering into 2026, will he face more challenges or get himself involved with more controversial issues again? That that is possible, right? That is possible. But I still wish him all the best because we are all here to serve Singapore, regardless whether you are from PAP or PSP or Workers' Party or SDP. All of us are just here to help Singaporeans live better lives. So I do respect Desmond Lee. Desmond Lee, it's just that I have to kind of tell you what may happen due to the year influence, right, of 2026 and 2027. So entering into the second half already is of the Shi fire. Shi will form a fire combination formation. Given his chart already have this way, so already will be forming one fire combination formation that will further enhance the strength of his day master to cause his day master to be even more off balance. So in a way, when we see a chart that is off balance, not a very positive sign, but still his decade trend is good. So what I foresee is that there could be a repetition of what happened in the past, is whereby Desmond Lee's team will still win, but that PSP may become the the what we call the NCMP again. NCMP whereby they are the highest. The opposition party that have one of the most highest votings. You know. In the election. So perhaps I will also explain to you what is NCMP. For those who are totally not familiar with Singapore politics, okay, NCMP it is a kind of scheme whereby Singapore allows the best performing losing opposition candidates in a general election to enter parliament, even if they did not win their constituency, which I think is a very good thing. I give a thumbs up to this scheme because that will actually be able to allow more it will be more inclusive, allow politicians that have different views to be included in the parliament session for constructive and fruitful discussion. So the key points related to this NCMP is that purpose is to ensure opposition voices are heard in parliament even if they don't win seats. Eligibility are that candidates from opposition parties who lost but had the highest vote percentages among all losing candidates. So there are still a lot of info, yeah, but that is not my focus for today's sharing. So I do see a repetition of such kind of event happening that Desmond Lee's team that of course is under PAP umbrella, they will still win. Yeah, because Desmond Lee and the other two candidates, they are also having a rather positive chart. So I will quickly plot the chart of the other two candidates. Desmond Lee's team, PAP for is for this West Coast. One of them is called by the name of so just a minute, yeah, just a minute, yeah. I need to kind of find their information first. The other two candidates that is part of Desmond Lee team is Wei Leng and Sean Huang and Dr. Hamid Raisa and Cassandra Lee. So a very strong team actually. Sean Huang is a senior parliamentary secretary whose Dama Jurong division was moved from Jurong GRC to let's read it together. Yeah. So you guys will be more clear. From Jurong GRC to this GRC, and Dr. Hamid Rasa, orthopedic surgeon and first-time candidate, and Cassandra Lee, a lawyer and first-time candidate. Yeah, so let's look at Wei Lang first. Yeah, Wei Lang, I believe Did I pronounce the name correctly? Yeah, correct me if I pronounce wrongly. Yeah, because sometimes I don't know if that kind of name kind of thing, right? I'm not. It's not my strong point. Yeah, I often pronounce people's name wrongly. Sorry about that. So let's check Ang Wei Lang date of birth first. Yeah. So everything is according to ChatGPT. It's likely to be correct. Yeah, their date of birth. So let's take a look at. He was born in 1967, and in the month of March, and on the 31st of March. So given his Bazi chart, we can see that he is a Jia wood that is likely to be a strong one. All right. So in all the time, right, in all the time that I have stated, I will assume that he is having a strong Jia Day master. And for someone who is having a strong Jia Day master, going into this Ding Fire trend, is it likely to be a positive thing? Is a hurting officer also? I will say it's a positive trend. So I do see that PAP may actually win, in the contest over these West Coast and Jurong West, because their team is likewise very strong. So another member is Xiong Huang. So let's take a look at Xiong Huang's date of birth. Okay, Xiong Huang's date of birth. I will just read it for you, yeah, as I plot his charts. Xiong Huang. Okay, as shown by ChatGPT, is 1982 in the month of July and on the day of 19. So for Xiong Huang, it's likely to be a weekday master of Kui Water. But his current decade trend is likely positive for him because he's having Xinghai and Renzi. All these are his companion factors. So yes, Xiong Huang will also likely to have a chance to be in the parliament. So the next person I will check on is Dr. Hamid Rasa. Let me see if I can find this person date of birth, because the new members usually their date of birth is not stated in the internet. Fortunately, I have this Dr. Hermit Rasa. Is okay. I believe this is a female, right? Of male or female? Sorry. What's the Right, I can ask ChatGPT anything, yeah, which is very convenient, yeah. Dr. Hermit, is it a? To be honest, right, I didn't follow the news on the team, PAP has formed. So Dr. Hermit Rasa is a male gender. Okay, so pardon me that I don't know about what's your gender. Yeah, is my is really my ignorance. Yeah, 1982 and July the 19th. So let's look at his chart. Dr. Hamid Rasa, also a weekday master. Oh, okay, sorry. I think I kind of jumped. All right, sorry. Okay, I typed wrongly. So let me find the Dr. Rasa date of birth quickly. Just bear with me, because sometimes all these technical issues may take place. So okay, quickly I will plot Dr. Hamid chart. All right. Unfortunately, as according to the ChatGPT, that as of now, Dr. Hermit Rasa's exact date of birth is not publicly available. All right, so we will skip him. And the last candidate, I believe is also not available. Yeah, but let's give it a try. Date of birth. So Kendra Lee. Do we have this Cassandra Lee? Yeah, well, we also don't have. All right, we don't have his date of birth, but he's 33 years old. Wow, very young, 33 years old. But anyway, we don't have the date of birth of the last two candidates. Likewise, is for the Progress Singapore's Party. The new candidates their date of birth are not available on the internet. So to conclude, both PSP and PAP, their contest over these West Coast Jurong West, You know, both teams stands high chance to enter into the parliament. Yeah. So what I foresee, the probabilities will be like PSP will lose this vote or this battle over West Coast Jurong West, but they may be the highest, one of the highest, you know, having one of the highest votes, right, for the losing party, and subsequently become the long constituency member of parliament again in the upcoming election. So anyway, I wish both parties the best. Basically, all parties have the very good intention of serving Singapore. But as I mentioned, luck is one thing. All right, I mean, intention to serve is one thing, but having whether you have luck is another issue that can be decoded using this destiny mathematics called BaZi. Because as you know, for the followers or the viewers, you will know, right? It's my habit to always backtrack and show you, you know, it's true enough that many events of the past can be reflected if we are to decode BaZi carefully. So wish you all guys all the best, and I welcome more scolding. You know, after this YouTube video, please scold me some more. You know, I love your scolding because it does shows that many Singaporeans do love Singapore enough to have emotional reactions, be it joy, be it happiness, aggression, anger, frustration, or whatever. You know, throw me your comments. Yeah, whether you whatever you know like to speak. You know, I accept it because I come from Hong Kong. Freedom of speech is a good thing to certain extent, as long as we discuss issue constructively and always respect the other side, you know, of the argument. Then it will always be able to bring about better ideas for governing, being a city state or a country, and make life better for all. And I believe creativity is really something extremely important, and that is something that we as Singaporeans should uphold or should cultivate more, invest more into creativity, because that is the most valuable asset for the future. Thank you very much once again, and wishing you a beautiful Sunday evening. If you like my video, please share it, please like it, please press the bell button, blah 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 blah. You know, the very cliche things, but really, my intention ultimately is really for helping all my viewers to learn BaZi, because it is a very useful tool, regardless your political beliefs, or regardless of your religious beliefs, regardless of what kind of, you know, all regardless what walks of life you are from, right? It will always benefit you. It's very much like GPS, always giving us a clear direction of what is ahead. So thank you all once again for watching. I will go for my dinner now. Yeah, so enjoy your beautiful evening. Bye bye.